and then replantings for replacements that didn't do well. One or two, I think, was it, Nicole can remind me, I think it was 2 cultivar trees and a handful of cultivar shrubs went in, but everything else is straight native.
Okay.
So I'm really pleased with the way it turned out, and I would recommend that you issue the certificate of compliance and return the full bond,
Okay.
because it's been 2 full seasons.
And what was the bond?
3,500, I think.
Okay.
3,500.
Do we have any comments from anybody on the commission? No. Yeah, I visited the site. The house came out lovely, and the plantings look, I mean, it's hard to tell in the middle of the winter, but they look like they're all doing very well. So, and there's a lot of them. I think it's a good work with the tight conditions that were available, as Eileen pointed out. Okay, so if we have nothing else, can I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 44 Westwood Street, DEP 122670?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? That's 400. Can I have a motion to release the entire bond of $3,500?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? 400. We're good.
It was easy.
Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thank you, Commission members.
Have a good night. Okay, next up, continued public hearing. Make sure that I get the time there. Notice of intent, 114 Wynn Street from the Burlington Public Schools to redevelop a playing field, DEP 122713.
While they're just making their
Yep.
way here, I know it's not on the agenda, but just in case anybody was expecting 7A Street, do you want to just mention?
Okay,
Just continue to next time?
the last few meetings, as Eileen has pointed out, we had an item for 7A Street. It's been continued repeatedly. They did not wish to come here tonight. They asked to be continued to the next meeting. So just in case anybody is here for 7A Street, it's not happening tonight. Okay. Welcome, gentlemen. Would you like to, for the record, introduce yourselves?
Good evening, Arsen Hambart-Zumian, Nestor Engineering.
Bob Kierna, School Department.
Good evening, Hippolyto Aguilera with Nestor Engineering.
Okay, before we get into this hearing, I would like to make a statement for the record. This hearing was initially opened in February 27, 2025. Final few things to be resolved from the last meeting, and I think we should be able to close tonight on this project. But I wanted to make a statement that the Conservation Commission has received emails, comments, social media activity saying that we are, quoting one of them in capital letters, the cause for delay, we've been a roadblock, we've been dragging our feet, etc., making this hearing too long. And I would like to affirm that that is not the case. The initial hearing got off to a difficult start because the applicants came in with a plan already engineered and designed that didn't fit the available wetland space. The delineation hadn't been approved yet, and that caused a delay because now we had to come out and do the delineation, and then both sides agree on the delineation, and that then defines the work area that is available. So that step hadn't been done first. So then they had to back up and then get another plan of engineering and design. It's a complex and difficult site, as you have encountered with us here. There's a lot of resource area boundaries involved. There's a strong need for the community to have another playing field as they're in high demand. But there was a lot of discussion back and forth, but we did not drag our feet. We did not dawdle doing any of this. It did require several iterations over several meetings. During that time, the applicants requested postponement 7 different occasions. So that, since there's 2 weeks between meetings, that left 16 weeks of delay from postponements requested by the applicants, not postponements by the Conservation Commission. The goal of the Conservation Commission has always been to have successful projects that protect the abutting resource areas. That is our appointed responsibility. But we also understood the importance of this project for the community where safe, functional playing fields are in great demand. Because of that, we'll actually be flexing the rules considerably by granting a waiver of the requirement of the protection of the 100-foot inner riparian zone for the river and the 20-foot no disturb, which normally would be required to be left undisturbed. This site, that was going to be very difficult to do, and we do have within our authority to grant a waiver to make the project work, and we are doing that. So we would rarely authorize this amount of inner riparian zone. It's like 50% of the inner riparian zone on the site is being modified, but here we felt that it was an important public interest to do so. So, and to compensate for that, we are requesting some plantings to restore the undisturbed area back to its natural ecology. So I just felt it was important, at least to me. You know, these people on the commission are dedicated volunteers. They have no political bent whatsoever, as far as I can tell, and they're just trying to get this stuff done in the best way for all parties involved. So there was several things that came out in the last few days. I just wanted to counter with that statement. So thank you for listening to me. All right, gentlemen, what you want to present that we have not heard from the last meeting?
Yeah, nothing. I think we just go over the conditions and discuss, most of the things that are standard, I think we're in agreement with, and I think there may be some things that we're looking for clarification on, and
There was a couple items that were left in the air. They are in the conditions. One was some sort of a retaining barrier along the part of the field that does not have a walkway.
Mm-hmm.
Another one was that small area where there was going to be cement or asphalt. So you want to discuss those now?
I'd love to, yeah, thank you. Regarding the elevated lip, I think there was mention of 4 inches. I think 4 inches is a little bit dangerous. I think that kind of a height sticking up. Also,
Is that not what we talked about last week?
we talked about a lip, but I don't remember a number, a specific number. I thought we talked about an inch or 2.
I thought it was up against the fence, so that you're
It is, but it'll be about 3-4 inches out. So if,
Maybe that's where the number came from.
yes.
Yeah, I misunderstood that. Okay.
So a curb, I'll just draw it really quickly. And if this is a fence, and this is the curb, and this is where the turf is glued or connected, and the fibers, or the infill typically sits on top here, so it ends up being a flush safety issue.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about raising this up a little, but then putting a beveled
Yes.
end to it
Yeah.
to soften it up a little bit. But I think, up to an inch or so, half an inch, is enough to keep the material in, but not so much that if the player was to fall on this very edge,
Right.
that their head would, cause serious impact. And if it was to be 4 inches high, I think that's dangerous. And also, I think if the water was to reach 4 inches, it would have gone across the walkway on the lower end anyway. So anywhere from a half an inch to an inch, I think should meet the intent of keeping the crumb rubber, but not be overly dangerous.
Okay, and the main idea was to prevent the crumb rubber from migrating into the resource area.
Agreed.
The other walkways around it, just for people that are listening, the walkways were all pitched, so they pitched down into the turf, so any crumb rubber that got scattered about would not end up in the resource areas. But that one line did not. Okay. And what was the deal with the asphalt versus concrete? There wasn't much of a difference in benefit, as far as I understand?
I didn't think there was a big cost difference. I thought that was something that we could have done as a mitigation measure. I didn't quite understand the comment exactly, or maybe I lost something.
We were initially wondering about putting in a water treatment unit. Treatment unit in there, and you were pointing out that that was quite expensive. How about we do a surface change instead?
Yeah.
And you did assert that that might be, at least initially, have less runoff of oils. I'm not sure that's really the case, because concrete tends to be smoother, so you actually get more stuff coming off it, especially in the first flush. So I just wasn't sure whether that made sense either.
Okay, so my comment was, what I meant was that from asphalt pavement, you have oils and degreasers and things that come off the first couple of weeks after you put asphalt down. For example, when we pave for tennis courts, we can't put acrylic surfacing for 14 to 21 days because oils are coming off of the asphalt. With concrete, that doesn't happen. It doesn't have those things that come off of it. I didn't mean in terms of things, going across it or in that sense. And we have the catch basin, which we're proposing a deep sump and a hood. So I figured between the deep sump, the hood, and going to concrete as opposed to asphalt.
Can you just remind us where that, can you maybe share that plan? Where that particular catch basin is?
Sure.
Lucy's going to pull up the plan, so we'll just be able to see it.
Yeah, sure.
It's gonna take me a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
we should have been ready.
So you are providing a concrete surface there, right?
I think that would be a net benefit, and if
Yeah, that's what you
instead of
suggested
doing
last time.
a treatment device, I think that would be a good happy medium.
But it's still a cost increase
It
to
is
go
definitely.
concrete
Of
versus
course.
asphalt. And I think we had mentioned anywhere about 10 to 15,000 as a potential increase if we were to, I know that
To check the numbers.
the unit is a lot more expensive than that as well. But I think ideally if maybe after the first few times it rains, if it is asphalt with the catch basin and the
Yeah.
the sump and the hood, if the conservation is okay with leaving it as designed, I think from a cost perspective, we won't increase in terms of concrete or that water quality unit, given what we've,
So I misunderstood. I understand that there's a cost increase for the water quality unit, yes.
Yeah.
Are you saying there is or there isn't a cost increase for concrete?
there is.
And I don't think I don't think that the benefit is even, it's not even about cost. I don't think it's particularly cleaner.
Okay.
So that's completely fine if you prefer to stay
Except for
with
maybe
it,
that first 2
that's fine.
weeks or something.
Yeah.
So the catch basin that you're talking about is where? Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so they put a deep sump there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the cost benefit comparisons there, it seems like the cost does not justify any benefit, or if it is, it's minuscule. So, yeah, I agree. Keep it
In
the
that,
way it
in that
is, yeah.
instance, yeah.
Thank you.
So that covers 2, and there was one other one?
The other one was, we were talking about, sorry, you were talking about, Larry. Not Larry, Bill. The other one, sorry about that. The other one was extending some plantings into the actual wetland. We had wondered about if you could add a handful of shrubs or even move some shrubs or something, and that's, you said you hadn't changed the plans, so I thought we should discuss that too, before we finalize.
So, I'm sorry, he hasn't even seen these, we got them right before the meeting, so I just want to show him 12 additional plants.
Yeah. I think our question was strictly on the handful, what that actually meant, right? Is a handful 5, is a handful?
I think I may have used the number 10 at some point, but that was just throwing out a small number of shrubs, and we weren't talking about big trees or anything, but just something to just initiate restoration.
Yeah, I
But
think the sentiment
talk some more.
from this side of the table is that we're not opposed to it. I think it's really defining the numbers and having a clear expectation of, what the committee wants. Again, obviously, cost is a concern of ours, but the project is a larger concern of ours, so again,
Well, I'm talking about $300 worth of shrubs versus $10,000 of concrete. I think that's,
I think we could find a
right?
a way to make that,
Okay,
yeah.
so that would be 10 shrubs.
Well, yeah, something like that, because you can get shrubs for $30 each.
Sure.
But part of the question then is, do we need them to show that on the plan? Because I would want that to be shown, just the landscaping plan tweaked before we approve go-ahead or something. We'll have to condition that.
Then that answers that.
Well, again, I think if that's the condition that we agree to, I think then this plan would suffice to that if you agree to it.
Yeah,
So-
well, just want to show me?
12 shrubs.
Okay, 12 is better than 10.
We will take 12.
You got bigger hands than we do for a handful.
Well, of course, what are they again? Erroneous something, I think that is, or, oh, it's actually, you've got trees in there too, or did you just move stuff?
I believe they're all additional.
Yeah,
I
they're
asked the
right.
landscape architect to place around 10 plants in the area. I wasn't specific.
Well, in
to-
that case, that's awesome. If you guys are okay with that, I think that's, do you want to see it? But that's,
I'll take the word for it.
that would be lovely.
Okay. And we'll condition it as well as
We'll
10
just
plants.
say that we have this now, so we'll just, Okay, that's cool. Maybe
I'll send it to you electronically as well.
yes, exactly. Then we're good. Okay, that was the plans. So we're agreed, two of them, lip is going to be shorter, we'll change that when we get to that in the
Yeah.
conditions. Asphalt, we're kind of just not even going to worry about that. Plants, you're adding a few more, you've already given us that plan. We're in good shape. Okay, some other things that I just wanted us to clarify tonight, if that's okay. Can I continue, Bill, with just one or
Yes,
two more
please
things?
do.
What's the sequencing like? When are you hoping to start, and are you going to be building both the fields at the same time?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I just want to clarify, the two fields in this project,
in this
not the
project.
existing.
Never mind the existing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
The lower and the, oh my God, the small field and the bigger field, are
Correct.
they being built together or in some kind of
Yes.
sequence?
To make it cost effective, I mean, we can't dictate the means and methods for the contractor, but I believe the most cost effective way is to do it at once, and that's the likely route they're going to take.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We just wanted to clarify because we didn't know whether there was a chance one might be commissioned before the other and how to make that work.
No, yeah, they'll be
That-
completed at the same time.
A lot more sense. And then, how is the turf component delivered and stored? Because you don't have stockpile locations marked, so we're just wondering how that works. Stockpile. Or does it have to be stockpiled? Is it just, it's put in on the day?
So the crumb rubber comes in sacks. It's, I don't know if it's a 2-ton sack. They lift it up right over the hopper, they slice the bottom of the sack, it falls in the hopper, and then they spread it so it'll be sacks.
Yeah.
The sand sometimes comes in a sack, sometimes dump truck that delivers it, and they go load it into the
So
hopper.
anything that's held on site in terms of sand and crumb rubber is in sacks?
Crumb rubber, 100%, the sand, 50/50.
Sand is okay, well, we know sand.
Yeah. Crumb rubber is 100% comes in sacks.
The
And then
the
one-
turf as well. That's-
Turf is rolled
Yeah,
up.
Yeah, it's
and then
rolled
that's
in
just
plastic.
giant sacks, yeah, like a.
It's a plastic tube.
covering over it.
We don't have a stockpile
Area.
mark, but we did just say it in conditions that, there are usual conditions about outside certain areas, so hopefully that works, and when you get to that point, you can.
I think it was 50 feet.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yep. I don't think that would be problematic.
No, I think the likely place will be in the parking lot by the running track and using the same access road to go back.
Also,
and forth.
it'll be like down there.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, then, we do need to just remind, we need to make sure there's silt sacks in those catch basins in that case.
Okay.
Let's make sure we put that in where the things are being stored.
Just outside of the 50-foot resource area and the 30-foot wetland buffer.
Well, that was they must be outside those, but if you're putting them in the parking lot, then I'm just saying, we should just make sure that the catch basins downstream of wherever you're storing that stuff just have a silt sack. Don't worry, that's another $10 thing.
Yeah,
It's not-
no,
Yeah.
we do, yeah.
Yeah, and again, just
They
for
definitely-
clarification on the word stockpiling, so if it was delivered on a Monday and installed within a week, is that stockpiling? Or if it's something delivered,
Yeah, if they're going to be there,
not installed for 3
if they're going to be
months?
there in the parking lot, we're just put some silt sacks.
Okay.
So-
That's not a big ask.
That stockpile location will be the final things that are going in once the field's built.
Okay.
While they're building the field, I believe it was on our erosion control plan to stockpile here, which is
there was a
outside of the
circle?
different
Oh, I
resource
must have
areas.
missed it.
I should have a circle.
Okay.
And that's kind of where they would have the
I
gravel
probably
or
thought
the
that was just
stone and so
a
on.
field marking.
If you go to the,
Because there's a circle at the center of the field.
right,
Anyway.
if you go back one more, you just passed it.
So I can see the titles of it.
It's okay. Right there, yeah, that big circle, that's our intended stockpile location.
Oh, that big pale thing? Mm-hmm. Okay, in that case,
We did our best to keep it out of all the resource
no, that's
areas.
actually perfect. That's perfect. And then, my last one, and Bill might have more, is, I know you guys have some questions about the PFAS conditions that we had put in there. So have RFPs been drafted yet?
No.
Okay, because I think we would want those to
Actually,
contain the.
Sorry, the specifications have been drafted, yes. So, project manual?
Are you talking about the SWIP?
No,
do you
so
mean?
when you say RFP, do you mean the bid documents?
The bid documents.
Yeah, so I call it the project manual or specifications.
Okay.
We do have a draft of that.
And do they mention
So
that it has to be PFAS-free?
The turf and the pad shall be PFAS-free. We
That'll
can't
come with
vouch for the crown rubber as it, as,
Will it come with some kind of documentation?
Yes.
To that effect? Okay.
yes.
Yeah,
And I
we-
think we sent samples of the documentation already.
You did, but, and that was good, that was good to get, but those were like samples, and you don't know who's going to be.
Exactly. So our language
kinda
says
wanted to
whoever
make sure we're all on the
wins
same
has to
page.
provide similar documents to demonstrate compliance. Yes.
Exactly, okay.
But it is a core requirement for these projects to get these actual letters for that particular winning bidder, contractor, or subcontractor.
But the language,
Have to understand how that works for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Ed, if you want to sit over there, that you might have a better view.
the language in the conditions should be tailored a little bit because it's very broad. It says any material or
Well,
any,
when
and
we get to that, we can talk about
Tighten it up.
tweaking it if we need.
We're going to go through that in detail.
I'm finished with my things that we just needed some clarification on.
I have nothing further. Let's start going through the conditions.
Okay, let me just, write this, have been drafted, I want to make sure we're just all, okay. Do you want me to share the? So, assuming we're all in agreement, that is, that, perhaps we should just check with the commission, make sure they're all in agreement that we're actually going to, I'm sorry, I'm trying to open things at the same time as I'm speaking, that we're going to issue. Close an issue?
Yes, I think we are in agreement that we can close the hearing at this point.
Yes.
So I should do that before we go through the conditions, or is that afterwards? I've lost track of which is which here.
Well, that's a good question. I think just, if anybody has any concerns, before we even go through the conditions, maybe we should know what they are, about actually closing this hearing.
Okay, so, you mean people in the audience as well? We usually do that at the end, but.
Yeah, no, I meant the
If it-
commission.
Okay. Does anyone have any input or comments on the
Where are my
conditions as they have been shown in the draft?
No,
We do know.
I just meant in terms of, okay, it's your, I apologize, Bill, it's your meeting. I just meant, before we proceed, does anybody have any issue with this proceeding?
Apparently not. But I'm not going to close the hearing until we're done going through all the conditions and hearing all the comments.
That-
And then we'll get to that.
That makes sense in that case. Okay, let me share, we're going to start with the, I do want to become the presenter. We're going to start with the bylaw because that's what we just typically do, because that sort of sets the scene to remind everybody what the project is. I'm not going to necessarily read every single word, but we'll get the strong gist of what's, like, I'm not going to read all the dates. So it starts off, we do explain that it was opened at the February 27th hearing, and then it goes through all the dates on which we actually heard testimony and on which we didn't hear testimony. Then we went on to explain, let me just make this bigger on my screen, that the project consists of the replacement of existing natural grass athletic fields with one full-sized and one youth-sized synthetic turf playing field, installation of terraced seating, new lighting, new scoreboards and walkways at the Marshall Simons Middle School, 114 Wynn Street. The project also included installing a rain garden. Are any plants being removed, any bushes or shrubs? We never really talked about that. I kind of think no.
No.
You're not going that far, that's fine.
None.
I'm just going to delete that part. And planting of, it's now going to be slightly bigger number based on your,
plus 12, so it'd be,
right, okay, I'll just make a note to add extra ones, and Lucy might check what they are for me, adding 12. As of earlier today, it was 18 native trees and 64 native shrubs that we counted, plus 12. Okay, the proposed work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands, within the 200-foot riverfront area of a stream under the Burlington Wetlands Bylaw, which is also a designated outstanding resource water. This goes through the filing history of, again, it gives all the dates. The next 2 or 3 pages are all of the plan document references, all of the ones that were relevant to where we got to this evening. So not every single item was listed, but all the ones that we determined were relevant to the project in the end.
so that says number 21 there. Is there, am I missing 20 or is that,
You're not, so, 20?
The plan references are number 21.
The conditions
of the
go from
conditions.
3 and skip to 21, which is the question I asked you earlier today, if I was missing any documents, and,
In the bylaw?
no, the conditions where it goes
Okay, well,
1,
we're
1
not
through...
there yet, though. Okay, I did explain to Bob
Yes.
earlier. So, the order of conditions is the document that the Burlington Commission has authority to issue on behalf of the state. The state DEP, the DEP actually, you can see the rest of it, but all of the rest of the
Standard language.
is all
I got it,
standard
got it,
language.
got it.
It's all of these, it's checkboxes.
Oh, okay, yes.
And they do have conditions 1 to 20, and they cannot be changed by us. They are standard, they are for every single project, and they, let's just tell you guys, they generally cover things like, let me pick one. The responsible
Sign.
party shall maintain an O&M log for all
Yeah,
these.
hang the sign
And they're all
and the-
completely standard.
Got it.
Then, if we have special conditions to add, they start at number 21. And in Burlington, we reuse a lot of our conditions over and over and over and over again because we've been doing this for quite a long time. And a lot of these, you're not going to have any issues with. You've seen them before. But some of them, we do then tweak to be very much project-specific, which is the ones that we're probably going to end up discussing this evening. Is everybody clear on that?
Yes.
And then under the bylaw decision, that is an additional decision that, where we clarify some things that may or may, that are going to be relevant under the Burlington Wetlands bylaw and regulations. And we have the ability to issue additional conditions under that if we wish, which can include requiring a bond. We don't in this case because we never ask town projects to pay a bond. Okay?
Got it.
That's for everybody in the audience in case anybody didn't understand this whole process.
The public bid process will have its own bond and everything else, so covered.
Right. Okay. So then.
Jerry
just-
has his hand up in the back. Jeremy?
I did have one point of clarification. So as I read the conditions today, it seems like the Burlington Bylaw 14, 6.4F, if we meet stormwater guidance, then the Burlington Bylaw doesn't apply and we're exempted from it. So does that apply in this case or no?
I don't know what you're talking about. What 6F of the, where's this?
Burlington Bylaw 14 that you're referencing.
What?
So if we meet stormwater guidance per the
Wait,
Mass law,
wait.
we're exempted from Burlington Bylaw per the bylaw written for Burlington. So the additional conditions would not apply, correct or no?
No. You are, this does qualify as a project that has to meet standards under the wetlands bylaw. Is that what you were talking about? Or is he talking about the
Correct.
stormwater
And the
bylaw?
6.4 references the MS4. And if we
MS,
meet
but that's the
stormwater-
stormwater bylaw.
Correct, and it says if we meet that, by regulation, we are exempted from the Burlington Bylaw 14 in the Burlington Bylaw. So I'm asking for clarification on that. 'cause it
I'm
seems
still not
contradictory
100%
to me.
exactly what we're answering, except that this does have to meet the stormwater standards.
My,
And it does per the,
It does with all of the new changes that you've made. It certainly did not at the beginning.
are you talking about a local regulation?
Correct. Yeah.
So when you apply for a notice of intent through the commission, you do not also need to apply for a secondary stormwater permit. Because you're able to lump the stormwater stuff into the notice of intent, so it reduces the administrative burden from having to get two separate permits. So you're not exempt from stormwater standards.
That's what he means. Oh, okay.
You're exempt from you're not exempt from, we put the permits together into one.
She means, yes, right, you're exempt from a
Yeah.
separate application.
Yeah, so it
That
means
must
that
be
you're
what
not
he's
sitting
talking
here
about.
twice and reviewing two different permits.
it's not necessarily application that says additional conditions are exempted. So if you pull up the Burlington Bylaw 14, 6.F4, or 6.4F specifically says we're exempted from the Burlington Water Bylaw in that condition.
Can you just pull it up because we have to figure out how to
I
answer
just want to
this,
ensure
because
we're all talking about the same thing. This
it's- Well,
has gone back and forth several times.
this definitely does have to meet the stormwater standards. It's not exempt.
Is it
Under-
are you referring to the wetlands bylaw or the wetlands regulation?
The wetlands bylaw, it's referenced in 6F.
Okay.
I will find
You just
that
check
if you
that.
want.
I'm going to continue with reading the bylaw because I know that you do have to meet it. So anyway, went through I'm not going to read through, but there's a huge long list of all the reference documents. And I hope you looked through them. There was a point where once the calendar year changed, there were a few items that you updated for us, but they still say January 25.
Sorry about that.
I'm hoping that won't be an issue somewhere down the line where we're just getting confused about years. Some of the proposed work is within the riverfront area of a locally regulated stream, the buffer zone to bank, and the buffer zone to BVW. The rain garden, portable bleachers on a gravel base, lighting, and parts of both fields will be within the inner 100 feet of the stream. Parts of the step seating in the eastern edge of the smaller athletic fields will be within the 20-foot no disturb from the BVW. Work occurring within or in close proximity to these areas can generate adverse impacts to those areas. This goes on to explain how wetlands have, various roles in protecting the public water supply. And erosion and sedimentation controls will be implemented during construction, minimizing any impact to resource areas and the municipal water system. The project will result in an increase in approximately 19,000 square feet of impervious area, not including the artificial turf, that should say, I'm sorry, not including. Let me fix that wording, but basically I was also trying to say this doesn't include the 2.4 acres of artificial turf, which was assigned the CN of 98. So it's like a CN number that indicates it's impervious, but it wasn't treated as an impervious surface. Water hitting the field surface would infiltrate vertically into an underlying stone reservoir into the soil below. The stormwater that fills the reservoir over a 25-year storm. If I've misinterpreted anything here,
I guess we had the question on the 19,315 square feet of impervious area, including the artificial turf.
well, it should say not included.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying,
Okay,
that I
I missed
had
that
messed
second
up some
step.
wording there.
Got it.
I just wanted to note in writing that the artificial turf was given a CN number of
98,
98,
yep, but it's not
but
impervious.
where we're going on to explain that water is going through it.
Yep.
So, just for clarification.
We were done.
So I was explaining that the stormwater that fills the reservoir over a 25-year storm would be routed into the rain garden, correct? Mm-hmm. And then the overflow from there would be directed into Maple Meadow Brook, a stream regulated under the Burlington Stormwater Bylaw and regulations, just capitalizing the M of Maple. The applicant has indicated that the proposed redevelopment, development actually, meets to the maximum extent practicable standards outlined in the Massachusetts Stormwater Management Regulations. We go through the standards. It now does meet Standard 1, which says we will not create any new untreated discharges. Standard 2, peak discharge rates will be decreased. Oh, it says again, redevelopment. Some of these we just reuse time after time. The recharge volume provided exceeds volume required. The project has been designed to remove more than 80% of TSS. It's not a LUPL. The project will discharge stormwater to a critical area and outstanding resource water. This project will provide more than 90% TSS removal, and a long-term operation and maintenance plan is provided, so you're meeting that standard. It's treated as a new development project and meets the required Standard 7. Erosion and sedimentation controls will be implemented during construction to meet Standard 8. The project owner will adhere to an O&M plan to ensure proper functioning of the drainage system, and for Standard 10, it does not create any new illicit discharges. Did you find that thing, or do you want to? Okay. Failure to maintain drainage systems can result in adverse impacts to resource areas, so you're going to do that properly. Other findings. The project included planting 18 trees and 68 shrubs, but I am upping that number with the new numbers from here, so plus 12, and I'll fix whatever the exact things are. Part of the planting is provided as an improvement within the riverfront area, since the requirement that the inner 100 feet cannot be left untouched the requirement that the inner 100 feet be left untouched cannot be met. So you're providing that improvement. And then this was highlighted because at the time I didn't know you were going to provide some plantings to BBW. So it's now going to say the remainder of the plantings constitute restoration planting within the BBW and the 20, okay, and the 20-foot no disturb. All right?
Do we need to add, you're saying commission voted to waive the 20-foot, we should also say the 100-foot. Because we're going to take 2 waiver votes.
Okay. Riparian, what do we call it? we call it normally? I'm just going to call it protected zone for the moment, and I will see if there's a more formal wording. And then the commission required that native trees and shrubs be planted with species and location per the approved landscaping plan, and that's really just highlighted because we knew we were going to be talking about this tonight. And then, which is probably what I think we're alluding to here with Jeremy, that this permit under the Wetlands Protection Bylaw may also serve as a permit under the Burlington Stormwater Bylaw. Because that is what we usually, what did he say, 14.6? 6 point something?
6F.
6F?
6 on our regulations is definition, and our bylaw, we have 1.6, which is coordination with other boards. So there is no 6.
I think he might be talking about, are you sure you're not talking about the Stormwater Bylaw?
It is the stormwater bylaw.
Okay, he actually made stormwater by that. Okay, so it then goes on to say that you're going to be protecting areas by using erosion controls, and then proper sediment barriers are compost tubes minimum 12 inches per the reference plans. Sometimes those details just go in automatically. Do you really mean that it's going to be 12-inch compost tubes? Because I like a 12-inch compost tube, and I'm very happy with that. Good, thank you. But it could be hay bales.
I think
We're
the
okay.
compost more cost effective.
I like compost tubes. Once they get wet, they're hard to move. So I'm good with that. We're proposing bi-weekly inspections of the site by a registered PE or a wetland scientist. You have a SWIP, so you're going to have to be doing EPA mandated inspections anyway. So we're fine with you just giving us that form.
Oh, great.
Okay? And then we go on to just say, the commission hereby grants additional conditional permission to the above noted applicant to conduct work pursuant to the provisions of the bylaw, Article 14. And we reference the conditions that we haven't yet touched on, but we're going to, our conditions number 1 through 64 in the order of conditions. So the conditions in this one are saying, conditions number 1 through 64 also stand. No work involving excavating, altering, or changing resource area is permitted until erosion controls are down and in place and inspected, and you can be fined for any non-compliance of the order of conditions. Okay, I'm going to just stop sharing that one, and we're going to switch over to the order, but in the meantime, do we have an answer for, we can leave it till the end, but
I'm not finding much. If you have the document with you, I'll look through it. Yeah. This might be what you're talking about. You also have one of those screen things where I can see it.
okay, I'm going to, is it okay if I continue, or would you like to wait until?
No, just keep going on.
All right, okay, so we have moved over to the order of conditions. We're starting at number 21 because those are the ones that are Burlington specific.
I'm looking at all of them.
Okay, so 21 lists all the plan references which should match exactly what we have in the bylaw. If you spot any differences, let me know. We'll get back to it in a minute. Okay, so the first few are also, they occur in every single project. So I'll go through them if you want, but generally, I'm going to hop through them a little bit.
Yeah,
till we
okay
get
to waive
the big
those.
ones. So the first few is just saying things like, you have to comply with the plans as we have all discussed and agreed upon. This document shall be included in all construction contracts and subcontracts, and it should be on site. In issuing this order, we've adopted the findings under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, which is what we were just talking about there, that we're possibly going to clarify in a few minutes. And we're assuming that everything is correct, because if not, this can be deemed invalid. You're responsible for any damages to properties as a result of this construction. We have the right to, or as in commission and staff have the right to just go on site to inspect. You still have to comply with all other local regulations. You hold harmless the town for any damages that might occur on the subject property while you're doing your work. And then pre-construction conditions they're the ones that are telling you, the first one is saying you have to give us notice between 2 and 5 days before that you're going to start work. At that time, you're going to invite staff to meet with somebody on site, meet with a contractor, and we're going to, you're going to ensure that you have recorded the order of conditions. The DEP sign is in place. We'll be looking to see that all the erosion controls are in place, and any items that need to be staked out, like the actual field itself, have been staked out at that stage. I know there were already some stakes in place.
Yep.
Anything that is going to be on site, like dumpsters or oil spill containers, we'll just be taking a look at. And then erosion control conditions, those are again saying that you've got to put in your erosion controls so as to match the plan, and you're going to be using 12-inch compost tubes. Those shall be maintained in good condition at all times until the Conservation Commission has issued a certificate of compliance. A construction fence and a construction entrance, a minimum of 25 feet wide and consisting of 4 to 8-inch quarry spalls to at least 1 inch in depth, shall be installed at the location marked on the reference plans. I took that information from your reference plan.
It's 1 foot in depth. You said 1.
Did I say 1
Yeah.
inch? It says 1 foot in depth, but I said 1 inch.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Apparently I'm having trouble with inches and distances today. Okay, at the end of the day, you got to keep the paved surfaces clean. All disturbed areas within the jurisdiction shall be stabilized immediately or as soon as possible thereafter. Basically, it's saying, number 36 is there shall be no dewatering permitted on this site. And if you find you need to, come back to us and we will approve a plan.
The only time I would expect dewatering is when they drill the light pole foundations.
Well, in that case, if it's just for a small thing like that, you may not even need it, but give us a call when that's going to happen so we can just say, we're aware, that's fine, okay?
Okay.
But if you do find that you're hitting water, then contact us because you're going to have to, put in a corral or a dewatering bag or something.
Yeah.
You guys know what to do.
We do have in the SWIP a section that talks about permissible dewatering and, it's like the fire
Right.
department, that type of thing. So
Well, in that
it's-
case, call us and we'll say, yes, just go ahead and implement one of those items that's in your SWIP.
Okay.
But we should know that it's happening.
Okay.
Right? No material shall be stockpiled within 50 feet of a resource area unless covered in circles with hay bales or compost tubes. The applicant shall be responsible for ensuring that stockpiled materials do not erode from the limits of the pile or intrude into resource areas or buffer zones. In no case shall stockpiles be located closer than 30 feet from the wetland boundary or no closer than 30 feet from the street. And that one was highlighted because at the time, I didn't realize that pale circle was your stockpile, but we've now established that you do, in fact, have stockpiles located, and that is, it fits with this. Catch basins on or within 100 feet of the work shall be protected with silt sacks or equivalent. So that, I guess, counts for the parking lot where you're going to be I think I'm just going to add something into number 37 just to say include silt sacks in the parking lot where storage is occurring, okay?
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
no problem.
if needed, right?
Where material will be stockpiled, okay? It just says include silt sacks in parking lot where material will be stockpiled. That's loose enough that if you switch it to a different parking lot, it's still just the same, all right? I'm just going to highlight that for myself in case there's something weird with the spelling. It says you need to submit a SWIP. You have, in fact, already done that. No additional grading is permitted without first filing a written request. I know you don't expect that that's going to have to happen. If it is, just come back to us. We have the right to require additional erosion controls should they be needed. Then we get up to the pollution control conditions. These are all absolutely standard and they appear on every single one. And it's basically saying capture all your sediment, have dumpsters on site. If there's any spilling, clean it up straight away and report it to the appropriate authority. Any refueling should be done in an upland location at a horizontal distance greater than 100 feet from the bordering vegetated wetlands or streams, and don't clean equipment within a short distance of the streams or the wetland either. No pesticides, herbicides, fungicides should be used within 100 feet of the wetlands, and that's a condition that will be noted on the certificate of compliance as existing in perpetuity. Anything that does get knocked or dropped into the streams or the wetlands, pick it out by hand, please. Then we come up to the two conditions that we've highlighted because they refer specifically to the PFAS. The applicant shall provide certification from manufacturer that each component meets the current California Prop 65 and European REACH standards. And then there's a more intricate condition about each component to be installed must be tested for the presence of PFAS, and it includes a lot of specific testing. Let me tell you that I reused a condition from another project, in this case, from another town. because they already had that, because they were requiring these exact testing specifications. So do we have anything to discuss about this? Are you okay with this?
So this would work for the turf and the pad. I don't think it would be applicable for the crumb rubber.
Why is that again?
But you said the crumb rubber is going to be PFAS free.
Well, I think it depended on the infill, right? Like if it was a different type of rock or something like that, then that one could definitely be
A different type of rock?
different type of infill such as Brock,
Oh,
right? Like that could guaranteed to be PFAS filled, but because this is a rubber, crumb
Right.
rubber, it inherently is going to have the presence of some, but we can't necessarily guarantee that it would be PFAS free.
Yeah, so I don't recall specifically saying for the crumb rubber. The documents I provided was for the turf and the pad.
Well, the alternative analysis did compare the different infill materials extensively, and it seemed to conclude that the crumb rubber was going to be the optimum choice financially, and well as the other aspects. I don't know what to say about that, demanding it be PFAS-free if that's not feasible.
Right.
It is one of the reasons we have a testing port in there, so we can test what's coming off of the field.
And just now I misspoke. There is no pad. There is no pad on this project, so this is just the turf.
say that again.
I misspoke. There is no pad involved with this project. It's just the turf. It's the turf and the crumb rubber, and the turf is manufactured PFAS-free.
But the crumb rubber,
Crumb rubber is made from tires driven
Right.
on roadways and whatever they pick up. That I cannot.
And you had some specification that, from your vendor, that there would be no Chinese tires involved.
Right,
For some
it will be
reason. That was a
US
more suspicious one.
US or Canada only tires.
Absolutely, I was just going to bring that up. Yeah, in our specs, we do add a little bit more stringency around that, and it is American-made or Canadian-made tires. Some of these other tires from other parts of, different countries will contain metals and other stuff in their tires and chemicals, and so we go the safest
These
route.
two, it's just, in other parts of the world, they use chemicals that are banned in the US, so we specify US
Okay.
based tires, yes.
Does the bioinfiltration, forgetting the word, the rain garden, do we have research on rain gardens and PFAS filtering?
not specifically PFAS, but rain gardens are very good at capturing various components, metals, and we have seen evidence that it can capture things like 6-PPD quinone. So,
Yeah, because of the.
soils and media.
Yep.
So I see where you're going, because there's only a very limited amount of water that's actually coming off the site.
Correct. It would take a major storm before it would even leave the field and
And then it's still
migrate
going into the rain garden.
to the rain garden, and then it would get additional filtration before it goes up.
So what do you want to do about these particular conditions? Can you meet number 50? It says each component meets California Prop 65 and the European REACH standards.
Can we say each component of the synthetic turf carpet shall meet, or the synthetic turf? Yeah, I guess it would be the carpet.
What are those California and European standards? Do they specifically mention PFAS?
I'm going to have to go back and check with the details of them. You did send us some documentation that did reference those.
Yes,
There was a whole folder, in fact.
that's from the turf manufacturer. And independent labs testing the turf.
Are you okay with removing 51 and just saying, or is there a way to amend 51 that we've at least got some teeth as much as possible in terms of addressing PFAS? I can tell you that the town that I took this from, these exact two conditions were in their invitations to bid.
They must have had a different infill.
Yeah, they must have.
So that's the only, we just need a separation, instead of saying, because the infill can be constituted as a component of the turf system.
Yeah,
So we need to separate that, either specifically to carpet, synthetic turf carpet only, or eliminating the component, the number altogether.
Could I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Can you put any kind of a box around the unknowns that the tire crumb rubber represents with regard to PFAS? I mean, are we talking like trace amounts here, or it could be 10 times what's considered safe limits? I have no idea. Is this a large concern, small concern? Is it like de minimis? Can we just basically stop stressing out about this, or is it a complete unknown?
I don't know it off the top of my head. I will look into it. I think my understanding is that it's just whatever would have picked up on the roads.
So it's not a natural component of the tire
I
to
don't-
begin with? It's just more of a contaminant that entered the tire waste stream at some point?
I believe so, but I don't want to misspeak. I can look.
I would,
Can
it's probably
look into
in the
that.
tires.
I mean, tires are a cocktail of who knows what. I mean, today we worry about PFAS, who knows what we'll know about in 10 years? I mean, to some degree, we may be splitting hairs here.
Sure.
I mean, unless we want to go with a much more expensive infill material, which we've kind of ruled out, this is kind of where we are. It's how it looks to me.
Right. And so when it comes to drinking water and everything else, there's a limited amount of PFAS that's allowed. But when it comes to these components, I
And
don't
this,
think
the
there's a
state
regulation.
has reduced those limits considerably in the past year or so. So every town in the state is required to attain some certain PFAS standards. And this water is ultimately going into a stream that goes towards a drinking water system. But I'm trying to figure out how we can keep a little bit of teeth and yet make this work.
Well, we can put the teeth around the carpet,
Yeah.
for sure. To answer your question, I just AI'd it here, and it says that crumb rubber used in artificial turf typically contains trace to low-level amounts of PFAS, often below detection limits in leaching tests. So,
We all trust AI.
Yeah, and I may,
It's better than no information at all.
I think the process of vulcanizing the rubber, that whole process in making the tires, I think that process itself introduces probably a tiny bit or a trace amount of, plus all the stuff that gets picked up on the roads. But in terms of, item 51, to your point, and trying to have some teeth into it, we will, once the contractor wins and that particular turf manufacturer is selected, we will provide documentation about their process, their testing related to the exact carpet that is being placed in there. And when we're talking about a turf system, typically you'll have like the carpet, you'll have like the pad, you have the infill. In this particular case, because just the cost analysis, we've gone from just the turf, and with the combination of the sand and the chrome rubber, it just reduces the cost overall, which made more sense in terms of having the project be able to be pushed forward, which we call that out in the alternative analysis.
right.
Yeah, so.
All right, I'm all for that. I think we can,
Well, I don't mind saying each component of the turf for 50, and then again, if 51 could say each component of the turf carpet to be installed must be tested for the presence of PFAS, then does the rest of the paragraph still hold? Do those components have to meet those particular, would it be fairly typical to show that it's quantified by EPA method, whatever, or do we just remove that and say the testing results must be provided under notarized letter for review prior to approval for installation? I'm asking both Bill and, not just Bill, everybody.
yeah. I'm not fluent enough to know what those specific
Remove it. I just
test methods are and what they show.
I don't know enough about the testing methods to know better. And I'd hate to limit us to, one specific vendor or a proprietary product that maybe they had tailored their purchasing specifications to. which
Don't know
can
if
be.
They had their own, okay.
Yeah, it is done. If you can prove that you need a specific way and there's only one vendor, you can surpass the bid process, but we haven't done that, and I don't know enough about the testing. So, you know, I'm okay with PFAS-free for the turf. We know we're able to do that, and there's multiple vendors that can provide that. I thought in my
Do
brief...
they provide their testing method as well? They can tell us that? How did they determine it, and what testing method did they use? Did they use one of these that's mentioned here? So they could say, it is less than detectable, and this is how we found that out? That's the kind of data you're going to get?
So I think there's 3 tests that allow you to get a result that is within detectable levels, and I think the other ones are so low that most of the PFAS it wouldn't catch it, or something like that. I don't know if you ever spoke to the person, the testing person.
He didn't get back to us. But what I'm thinking is, we eliminate the middle part that specifies the methods, because if we're only talking about the part of the turf, it may be just too strict a requirement. But then we would just say, each component of the turf carpet must be tested for the presence of PFAS. The testing results will be provided under notarized letter for review prior to approval for installation. The letter must specify the testing methods. They're just going to
Right,
tell
sure.
us.
Sure, yeah.
And then remove the bit where we say, the middle bit, where it says indicate the following. Just forget about that for now. Let me just strike that out. So before I take it out, just strike it out. And then, is it okay to retain the bit about the 29 PFAS components? Because that is probably what they're doing.
Including
We're just removing all the part about you must have this method and that method, because I don't know what the turf guys do.
compounds.
And does that work for everybody else if it works?
Is
for
that
them?
last sentence in 51 redundant with 50? Because you're saying it's based on reach and Proposition 65?
Oh, right, sorry, you're saying that's already,
Kind of part of 50, right?
Yeah, we could,
we also mentioned the truck. Okay, well, so we could just leave it with the first part? Is that okay for the commission?
it is by me that they're going to say that it's PFAS-free and show us the test results and technique.
I'm
There's not
okay
much
with
else we
that.
can hope for, I think.
Anybody else object to me removing the sort of second two-thirds of this condition?
So if we say that show the test result, so what is the condition?
Well, the conditions, if the vendor who is providing the carpet must show that must prove that it is PFAS-free by showing us the levels and how they tested it.
But we're not
Are we
necessarily
mentioning
saying...
these items?
We are not measuring it, no.
No, are we mentioning these items in our conditions?
Well, I was suggesting that it might be too strict to specify all of the methods that would have been used for, potentially for something else, but may not necessarily be applicable to only turf carpet. That's what I'm saying.
Can we ask that the test result should show that it is safe?
That is PFAS-free.
PFAS-free.
I guess safe is a, what do you call it? Objective, or yeah, a term that's kind of hard to.
Yeah, it's already said that it meets the current California Prop 65 and European REACH standards. If you can meet that, then it's pretty strict. I think the issue is that we're now just narrowing it all down to really just the carpet, and we're forgetting about the chrome rubber for now. But I think, as Lucy pointed out, given the fact that a lot of it's going into the soil, and then in the biggest storms, it's going into a rain garden, I guess we can,
And it appears that trace amounts at most
Go with
is what
that.
you're going to find.
well,
And you have all the infiltration
I'm not sure at all.
system before it even gets to the rain garden. I mean, there's layers and layers and.
So can you,
it does,
After this, I'm also just skimming the bunches, starting really fast. So
that it may be less than what?
the crumb rubber might have less PFAS than the actual carpeting. But that's like hearsay, like, it's
Are
from
you reading the chrome rubber?
I didn't check I don't know who funded it.
Well, anyway, are we okay then with just retaining the first part of that?
can you read what you think we have?
Each component of the turf carpet to be installed, same batch as will be placed at the project, must be tested for the presence of PFAS. The testing results must be provided under notarized letter for review prior to approval for installation. The letter must specify the testing methods, and end with that.
I'm fine with that.
Just a really quick question.
Yep.
In terms of the results being notarized, so as you saw in the documentation we provided, every company will go through this process of testing and provide quite a bit of documentation around that.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, the notarized letter. It must be provided for review.
Okay, thank you.
I get you. Are we agreed that I will take the rest out?
I am.
Okay, all right, fine. It's done. A sampling port shall be installed in the drain lines directly upstream of the rain garden and before entering Maple Meadow Brook to allow for sampling of stormwater. This, we're not actually asking, well, unless we change our minds in the next 10 minutes, I don't think we're actually asking you to sample and test. But we like the fact that this port is there. You have agreed to it being there. It's in the design plans. We want to make sure it goes in there for future testing. Okay? That's why that's there. Then under inspection and monitoring, we're again saying that somebody should be inspecting and submitting a bi-weekly report to us from a registered PE or wetland scientist or certified erosion, sedimentation and erosion control inspector or another approved inspect person. And as we said again here, this can be the SWIP report. So just have your person copy us as well as EPA. All right?
Yep.
But it should have the check boxes for parts that are relevant, which it will have anyway. And then under drainage and stormwater management, we're saying that stormwater that runs through the turf field and doesn't infiltrate beneath the field shall be managed using a rain garden as shown under the approved plans, including the detail on sheet C10. The installation of the catch basins and construction of the rain garden shall be, this was just a question of whether it needs to be certified by the PE or do you want somebody to actually be present when it's being built? That's why it's overseen versus certified. The engineer shall submit documentation to the commission stating that the construction of these components was conducted properly in accordance with the reference plans. This was sort of a holdover from when we were pretty concerned about the...
We usually just say that it's certified that they're present
Yeah.
before they're buried or whatever. I'm thinking infiltration chambers, but yeah, I think that's sufficient. That it's
I mean,
certified that-
I don't know, to be fair, at the middle school, we have had issues in the past with something not being quite built the way it was supposed to be. Rain gardens, specifically. And it's no fault of yours or anybody's that was in the field. I just mean, things happened along the way between the design plans and the installation.
So you'd like to say that it's overseen
I don't
and
know.
certified?
I think for the most part, in these days, in 2026, I'd be surprised if somebody can't install a rain garden properly.
I wouldn't, but I've met people.
Well, that's true, too.
So
You
leave it
okay?
as just certified.
Okay,
I think certification is enough. I will not certify something if I'm not, continue if I'm not.
if you're not pretty happy with how it turned out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Assume it's
that's-
functional.
Exactly.
Exactly. Somebody who's a PE isn't going to just be signing off
And
on
that's
anything.
why if anything goes wrong, then
That's why
we can
you-
go
okay.
back to the engineer.
Agreed. And then 55 says that the applicant shall adhere to the long-term operation and maintenance plans submitted as part of this application. And then we went through and summarized parts of it. So feel free to go through that, but it's basically summarized what you had in your long-term plan. And then you should submit maintenance records to the Board of Health. Well, actually, you should just probably just, that might just say, I'll check with the Board of Health tomorrow, but it might just be sufficient to just send it to us because we are the usual maintainers of the O&M records. I'll just check that tomorrow morning before I remove it entirely, if that's okay with everybody.
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry.
yes.
In 55, it says remove invasives twice annually.
That's what it says, and that's what you wrote.
You wrote that? So
I think so.
would this be within our limit of work? Because there's invasives.
You wrote it.
Could it be that? Can we?
Well, because it says no mowing allowed in the riverfront area, wetlands within the no disturb restoration area. So this is outside of, in our belief, and we just want to make sure if that's the clarification.
So I clearly was a carryover from our end on a past project where we.
About the invasives?
We had to remove invasives within, the wetlands and the buffer zone and so on as part of a project.
I think this is only saying remove them from the rain garden, make sure the vegetation. is
That's
still
completely
functional.
fine if that's-
the way
Is
it
that what
reads
it's
to me.
saying? I don't know that it is, but I think that's what works.
Right.
Because we do have, the rec department is, we've been working with them recently, and they are sort of on board with looking at things like rain gardens twice a year, right? Twice a year?
Yep, and Mugwort is having a party in that part of town, in
So,
the rain garden, so did not do that.
I think I can, regardless of what your plan exactly says, I can just, how about we just tweak, you're going to be doing no mowing in the riverfront or the wetland presumably, right? In the areas that are being, and then just make, remove twice invasives, make that its new bullet, remove invasives from the rain garden twice annually. Does that work?
Correct, yes, perfect.
I believe that's consistent with the rec.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what they've
great,
kind of been doing, that you've been,
Yeah, that's what I'm-
Lucy's been working on training
Yeah.
with them. And then monitor the rain garden discharge location. Oh, yeah, sorry. Their next part was just saying you should submit documentation annually. So if you're doing things like checking, like, we'll be working with the rec department, but if you're cleaning catch basins, you should be sending that information to us anyway. Then snow storage shall be according to the grading plan sheet C6 and the stormwater management plans contained within the long-term operation and maintenance plan. Snow plowing on the turf field shall not be allowed. The snow shall not be stored in the rain garden or wetland. This condition shall remain in perpetuity. The O&M plan shall be recorded at the Middlesex Registry of Deeds with the COC. Are you guys okay with that?
Sorry, this is the snow or this 57? 57. We've never done that before, but
That has been a typical requirement for the last couple of years that we have done. This isn't brand new.
well, I defer to Bob on that. It's not, no sweat on my part.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're requiring it, then we'll make it happen.
Would you like me to tell you how much it costs to record something at the registry? of deeds?
$175.
I think it's actually only 110. Really? Well, yours is more than mine.
It's the plans, yeah.
Okay, under riverfront restoration and buffer zone management conditions, we have said no invasive plant species shall be allowed, and this condition shall be noted in the COC. And then we get into one that I have comment on, pending decision about extending restoration of the wetland. Oh, right, which we have fixed. We've sorted that out now. So again, this is now going to say the different number, let me just add, plus 12. Shall be planted per the approved landscaping plan, the rain garden construction shall be per the detail, blah, 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 appropriate wetland meadow mix. Oh, yeah, you don't actually have anything. What are you proposing in the new, are you just proposing to plant trees and shrubs in the wetland and not apply any, just leave then the rest of it, not apply any wetland mix? Because presumably you're going to churn it up in order to do the planting.
I wanted to limit any work in there, so just plant and leave the grass, and naturally, I think over time, there was some indication of wetland plants coming through. We have a couple that you noticed when we were walking there, so
Yeah.
I think if we leave it on mowed and natural, I think nature will take its course there.
How about, just because where it's churned up, I would say, we're talking about a bag of seed.
Well, I don't mind.
I'm just saying appropriate wetland meadow mix shall be approved with conservation staff and used for the, and I want to say like the churned up areas.
Disturbed area?
Disturbed areas, okay, in the wetland restoration.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Not everywhere. You don't have to whatever you call it when you take off
Till?
the sod.
Or-
Till it.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, in the wetland restoration area. That's better, I'm happy with that.
And it's 5 trees and 7 shrubs, just from what I can tell here, I think.
Here.
5 trees additionally and 7 shrubs.
That's what I'm,
That's-
if the legend, just,
I'm going to change,
Sure, wait.
wherever it says 18 and 6 to
Yeah.
8, I'll add those numbers in
Okay.
tomorrow morning, if you all trust me. And then plants within the rain garden and the resource area and buffer zones that are observed to be damaged or unhealthy during the first 2 growing seasons shall be replaced. That is standard because we have a 2-year monitoring requirement. And then it's,
so I will have to change our specifications. We require the contractor to provide 1 year as standard.
1 year is pretty typical for them to replace things that aren't doing well.
Uh-huh.
Commission always requires 2 years because it usually takes a second year just to make sure they're in. Basically, you're just watering them for a second year. They should be already in pretty good shape by then, right? Good chance.
Yeah, I don't think, if it doesn't die the first year, I think it just as I don't want the next, so yeah.
And then part of the reason that this is highlighted is because we're just saying, we might want to tweak this bill, because this is part of what we had discussed about the rain garden. I'm suggesting that we leave it that the rain garden shall be maintained while the playing fields are in existence. The wetland restoration shall remain in perpetuity. I know that there was some feeling that the rain garden should be maintained in perpetuity, but I feel like the rain garden is very much connected to this design, and if they were to rip out that field in the future,
Then the rain garden.
it's kind of in the way.
There's no point for it, yeah.
Yeah, and that would be a whole new NOI anyways.
Yeah, but I just mean, if we say that the rain garden has to remain in perpetuity, then it does limit them a little bit more, whereas I think the wetland restoration, we do want to say perpetuity.
Okay, I agree.
Are we okay with that?
Yep.
Everybody? Okay. I think people are already turning off and going to sleep. Maintenance of the rain garden shall be per the long-term stormwater operation and maintenance plan. I had another note here. I said maintenance of restoration area was not addressed in the long-term management plan. Oh, right. I may have kind of just put this together. Additionally, in the wetland restoration area, mowing and fertilizing shall be avoided. Just tell me if this is reasonable. Reseeding shall be with an approved wetland mix, basically just where needed. And then watering shall only be during reseeding or plant establishment periods. I don't think you would have any issue with those. It wasn't specifically addressed in the long-term plan, but that seems reasonable to me. Okay. This is one we're also going to have to talk about. We had said a new notice of intent shall be submitted for replacement or removal or significant alteration of the artificial turf at this location or at the lower field. Bob reminded me that we did talk about this last week, and Bill had suggested, and it made a lot of sense, that it might be appropriate for you to come to us with something like an RDA, which is a much simpler, just an outline plan, and then we can determine then whether an NOI is necessary. So if you guys are open to it, I would tweak that one to say that.
Yes, please.
Let me just put 2 or 3 words in so I can put the exact words I said in tomorrow. RDA first,
Yes.
then the rest, basically. Then, if needed. And don't worry, I will make it sound the way we just sort of agreed right now, all right? Let me just make it red text or something so I don't forget. And then a waiver was granted. They haven't done it, but we're hoping that in a few minutes a waiver will have been granted, allowing alteration of approximately 50% of the rest of the riverfront area as defined under the wetlands regs. No additional alteration shall be allowed at this location. That is typical.
Can we say as part of this permit? I mean, if they want to, let's say, put a net up or put a goalpost or, I don't know, some kind of a minor,
That would be at the discretion of the commission, or at least staff.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell you that you have to, I don't think anybody would deny them a goalpost
No.
or, what did you say, what was your other example?
And then,
yeah, netting.
A net. I mean, this
That would be de
commission is
minimis,
fairly
you know, it'd be-
flexible. Exactly, that would be a de minimis thing. We're talking about something that's, like Bob's, when we had a chat earlier, he was saying if they're putting in two new lanes around the track, that would be additional impervious surface.
And that would never be allowed.
Yes. Correct. It's usually 10%, remember?
Gotcha.
and again, the question I had was, it says no additional alteration shall be allowed at this location, and would that impact the RDA or NOI for the brush field? Is that considered the same location?
I would say no.
Being the same property, or are we only talking about the confined area of this project?
I think we can only apply to this
This project.
defined area of
This
this project.
application, yeah.
Okay.
At this
So is that
location,
understood, or is that something that needs to be clarified? I'm just asking because
That
there
this-
is an intent
this
to
order-
obviously.
This order pertains only to this project in this location. The brush field is not part of this project or part of this exact location. I know it's in
But
the
it's referenced in
overall-
61, like specifically.
Or at the lower field.
Yes, it is. I know, but this is a separate condition and it's for a separate thing.
So it's possible, it's not possible to just clarify that to mean the field and a half that we're putting in?
Well, I
Like, would
think
that be possibly misinterpreted by,
Yeah.
in the future by the board or additional?
Well, I think 61 shouldn't say or at the lower field. The lower field is not
Yeah.
part of this
We had talked
application.
about that in Okay, well, I will remove it, that's fair enough. We had talked
Yeah.
about that for, when we were in discussion before.
Right.
But if you want to
Yeah.
take it out because it's, okay.
Yeah, if it comes to that, it's going to be
better?
another
Yeah,
application.
it'd be its own application,
Right, yeah.
correct, okay.
Okay, so in that case, are you okay with us just saying at this location? Because now we're saying, we're referring to the same thing in both 61 and 62?
I would say
look again?
at this location within jurisdictional areas.
Well, that's a given.
Is that a given?
What?
It's a given that we're working within jurisdiction.
At the locations within this application.
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
Pretty good, yeah. 'Cause, yeah, I don't want the location to be 114 Wynn Street, because then it defines the whole property of
Correct.
26 acres.
We don't
Right, so-
need to do that here, right?
Within this project limits?
Oh, I see. I get it. So, within project limits at this location, within current project limits at this location.
Perfect.
Okay. And you want that to be in 62 as well? That probably makes sense.
That would help.
To say the same thing. All right, that's fine.
Yep.
Within current project limits, let me just copy that and put it in. Blah, 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 blah. No additional alteration shall be allowed specifically within current project limits at this location. Okay, that's fair. And then the nailer lip on the eastern and southern edges of the smaller artificial field shall be raised to, I had said 4 inches, but I think I may have misunderstood. So you're saying,
Half inch to 1 inch
So 1 inch tapered.
with a beveled end.
just, let me put, with
Sure,
the
sure.
beveled end or side?
Edge.
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 Thank you.
Perfect.
I had said 1 inch. Do you need, is it, is half an inch going to be enough to capture things? And you've got the fence? But we don't want it to be a safety thing either. I understand.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but, I mean, anywhere in there is okay. Whatever you decide. 1 inch.
Well, I would just
Yeah,
say a
well,
half to 1 inch. Just figure out how high it can be at the location. Is that all right?
Yep, that's fair. And that gives them a little margin of error, so if it's 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
you wanna say-
Then it's fine.
Can we go back to 62 for a minute? The unhighlighted, finish what you...
Can I just,
Yeah, please, now.
this lip is at or close to the 20-foot no disturb boundary, and there's no graded walkway at those locations.
Okay.
This is to prevent migration of crumb rubber particles into the BBW. That was the point of the lip.
This,
What?
and there's a fence.
The unhighlighted part.
Yeah.
Conditions shall be noted on the certificate of compliance. So we will be requiring a certificate of compliance on this project, and does that mean the fields cannot be used until they get one?
I know, but can the flat be flush to that edge?
Yes.
So we'll have the table.
That's kind of like an occupancy permit.
Yeah.
Well, it's not an occupancy
It's not,
permit.
right.
Yeah.
It's, that, okay, let's have a discussion about
Yeah.
that. That's,
Sorry, I missed it.
I was talking about back to 62, where it says the conditions shall be noted on the certificate of compliance and shall continue in perpetuity. So we would have a certificate of compliance ending this project, and would that imply that the field cannot be used until a certificate of compliance exists? And I'm assuming as soon as you finish and you have it playable, you would
Yeah.
say, hey, I want a certificate of compliance.
Typically, that's what
Some-
occurs.
Some, like on a household, like on a residential project, sometimes a certificate of compliance won't be issued until all the grass is established. And in this case,
Right.
turf field, we would like the turf field to be used. If they're coming from the school down a walkway into a turf, well, it might take a few months for the grass itself on the perimeter to be established.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to wait 2 full growing seasons either before you can play on
Right.
the field.
So that's just kind of a caveat.
we don't usually, I was fine with the
Well,
discussion, but that does
yeah.
seem like pretty strict. We do want the COC to be done, though.
No,
Yes.
well, absolutely, we should
Wondering
do
about
it.
how to,
We should do it, it's just,
figure it
can
out.
they have a temporary use
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
turf
Yeah.
field only until the
Yeah.
COC is.
If this were a residential thing, we would say, okay, get your occupancy permit, and we'll retain a small part of the bond until the 2 years later when it's filled. We don't have a bond here because it's a municipal project, so, we don't have that capability. So I think that when it's done, and the certificate of compliance is
Could
said,
you just please open the...
we'll say
order for-
something similar, that, go ahead and use it, and we're going to keep watching the growth of the other 2 things.
Perfect.
I would hope so.
Let me see if I can. Did you have a suggestion?
And I think there's a little more accountability as from a town department to a town
I
department.
was just going to say, the town wants its.
Yeah, given the schedule,
We don't want
Yeah.
barriers.
we foresee that once it's, as soon as it's done, we're planning on having it ready, right at school start, so
It is needed.
I'm just opening up a different order to see if we said something similar. Because I think I may have used this as a reference. Did we say that? I don't know that we did. I don't know that we did.
They also have a building house with a CO.
The building? They don't. They are going to have a building permit for the seating structures. You're going to have a building permit for that, is my understanding.
Okay.
So what are we trying to figure out?
I think Bill just wanted to make sure, well, which was part of what we were trying to do
Yeah.
too, that a COC gets
Right.
submitted sooner rather than
You know,
later.
the COC, when they come in front of us and
I
say,
don't
we're
know.
ready to use the field,
Yeah.
we'd like to get the COC, even if the grass isn't fully in or the plants haven't established 2 years, we're not going to prevent them from using the fields.
No, but I don't think we should require a COC then, because it's really not ready for a COC. Well, I mean, yes, I suppose it is. If it's ready to use, it's ready to use.
I would say that my argument
We'll
would
have
be
to check.
when the field is done, we should do a COC, because we are right next to the fields, and we know that they want their grass.
They can use the field before
About
COC.
having-
So you're saying that
Well,
they should require?
we wanna make sure it's done correctly.
Submitted straight away.
Right.
The COC says this work is done.
I know,
Because the
So-
plantings, we have no.
We want them to be able to use it as soon as it's available.
but we can we put this way, because we did put before, even before we issue the COC, they can use it.
I wouldn't want to say that.
Because if we want COC, then you have to wait to grow.
I mean, that's, you see,
Really?
if it's residential, we would say, go ahead and use it, but we hold some of the bond for the 2 years. We don't have a bond here, so we're going to say,
Oh,
go ahead and use it, and just keep an eye on it, I think. We could
Right,
issue the
yes.
COC and then worry
Correct.
about the,
That's what I.
Right, as,
The
yeah, as
planting
Lucy was saying,
separately.
it's
Yeah,
a town project.
right.
We're on top of it too.
We're not going anywhere.
I'll be
Right?
at your office, I'll be at.
Okay, but basically,
Come play on the
I
field.
agree with you
do
there.
you want me to add in anything specific about the COC was the end of that whole thing, I think?
No, just a discussion about defining that they could use the field
Oh,
when the COC has been issued.
all right, but do you want to in some way try to incentivize them to submit sooner rather than later? Because we would like to see that too. We have an issue with people not doing them
Yeah, but
sometimes.
They're going to, if we say you can't use it until the COC is done, they're going to come forward with a COC instantly when it's available.
Oh, you do want to make it the condition? Oh,
Yeah.
COC must be filed for upon.
Field can't be used until the-
Immediately upon completion of project
Well, the field can't be used until the COC has been approved.
of turf field upon installation. Completed.
sorry, give me some better words, give me some good words again.
COC must be applied for, I don't know, upon, immediately upon completion or complete installation of artificial field.
Shall be, okay, I'll say shall. Submitted. I'm okay with that if everybody else is, and I'm going to put it under the subheading of the certificate of compliance conditions. The COC application shall be submitted immediately upon, you know, whatever.
Complete installation.
Will there be like a application paid, basically saying that?
If I may, just a quick question.
Yes.
How long does it take to typically issue the certificate of compliance?
1 year, usually.
Would you do that if the grass is not established on the perimeter?
That's what we were discussing.
Yeah.
That's what we are discussing.
Will,
Oh, okay.
We'd have to.
will you,
Oh.
will you want to use it if people are going to rip it all up?
So usually what we do is the turf will be completed, then they'll do a snow fence around the grass that's still
Exactly.
being established.
So that would
Let people
be,
use the turf, but usually we don't get the certificate of compliance until everything's done and you're ripping out the erosion control, you're
I
moving.
know, and I'm conflicted about this, to be honest. But we could try it for this one and see how it goes. You're the guinea pigs. And then we're also, the last part is, what you need to do in order to get your certificate of compliance. You submit your as-built plans, your written narrative by whoever's been overseeing, or you, or one of the two of you, or a wetland scientist or somebody to say, yes, you've got all the conditions have all been complied with. And then something from the landscape architect or wetlands, whoever is helping you with the plantings, to certifying successful establishment of the plantings, including, oh no, that says pollinator meadow, that was from a different project.
We don't have one of those.
No pollinator meadow. Unless you want to do one. We're open.
Theoretically, yes, but they're saying they would let you.
That was a very long. Is everybody reasonably happy with those?
Can I just add as well too, so back to 63, not to make it more complicated, 63?
The nailer?
No, I'm sorry, the one we were just talking about with the
Certificate of
certificate of compliance.
Yeah.
I would just mention, so there's a ramp, walkways and seating as well too.
Yeah.
So I think it would be difficult for us to not use the ramp to get down to the field, right? And then to use the walkways because they connect the two areas, especially to the school and back. So there probably would be a time where that's available, where maybe, again, some of the plantings aren't done or the light poles aren't installed. So, you know, as far as waiting fully for the certificate of completion, may be impactful to us. So I guess the clarification I asked Arson, and I'm going to ask you all, you're saying that no part of the project can be used until the complete project is done? And I know you were just discussing that, but
I think it's more, don't play on the field until the field is done and it'd be safe, good.
right.
You can
So if the
walk on
field
the
was,
walkways.
so if the walkway is done, you can walk on the walkway. And if the field is done, you could play on the field. But if the grass isn't established, don't walk on the grass.
Well, it would be grass, either.
So in our world, we would have.
Really going to allow people to,
Well, we still are
How
going to
many-
use the front field, so when the ramp is
Right.
done and the seating is done,
Yeah.
and if they're installing lights and working on the rain garden 400 feet away, then we can see that there may be a need to use the walkway, right? So that's just an example of, which wouldn't
that
impact the
rain garden's
construction
not done,
zone.
it's not a COC.
No. I think he's asking if, because we're saying you can't use the field until you do the COC, he's wondering if they can use the walkways if the field isn't done. Or like if, like the whole project isn't done and ready for the COC, can they still walk on the walkways, to which I said, yes.
I mean, we're not talking about the walkways that go up towards the wetlands, we're talking about the walkway that's in the middle of the two fields that go down to the current brush field.
Oh,
You can walk on the
What if we just say something to the effect that when the applicant is ready to use the fields, the new fields, contact conservation for concurrence?
I mean, is that not what that says you have to file for the?
no,
COC?
we're all bogged down in the COC.
I know, it's all happening.
Usually, it's fairly common sense, to be honest, that they will contact us to say, listen, are we, at least administration, to say, can we use these fields or not? Are we okay enough that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want that really written more clearly?
Or like a thumbs up for like.
I think the suggestion from the chair was good.
Oh, I'm sorry,
But-
tell me what that was again then, if I didn't have captured it.
When the applicants decide that the fields are ready to be used,
Yeah.
they will come to conservation for concurrence.
Oh, yeah, that's basically what I said, though.
Yeah, we don't have to call it a COC then.
That typically, they just contact us and say,
Right.
are we okay?
And we can say, okay, you can use it, you're still protecting the plantings with your fence, and then 2 years later, we can issue the COC when everything's established.
What, are you okay with administration providing that approval? Or are you actually asking them to come to a full?
Oh, yeah, no, administration will be fine with that.
Okay, perfect. Let me just figure out how to make that make sense, but that's good, yeah.
Okay.
Which basically is the sensible thing we were all talking about that everybody does anyway. All right. Contact administration. All right, any comments or other concerns about,
I have one question. On 61, is that
And then
going to be
obviously
removed?
10
The
lighting obstruction,
RDA,
concrete areas.
that's going to be removed, right?
no,
Oh, it's not?
no, we changed it from saying you must submit an NOI to saying you can submit an RDA and we will determine if the RDA is sufficient, because it's just a small thing, or whether you're talking about a bigger project that would require an NOI. But
Yeah.
this way, we're not blanket saying NOI.
Oh, I thought we were just saying eliminate any reference to that project. When we do
Right.
that project, will just apply anyway.
Right.
I think that was more of a,
No,
I think that was more of a discussion just to get a sense, but not part of this project. So when we work on the other one, we'll come.
No,
talk
we're
you,
referring
file
to
an
this project.
RDA.
If suddenly, for some reason, you have to replace half the turf or the turf on one of these two new fields, it would require a new RDA. That's all.
Yeah, okay. If it's specific to this,
Yeah.
no problem.
Right.
I think we just separate out the other field.
And we don't need to even say an RDA unless it's big, and, I mean, an RDA by itself, if it's not sufficient for an RDA, leads to an NOI. We don't have
Oh,
to
we
say
had,
that.
sorry, are you saying?
So 61 and 62 are both within the current project limits.
I
and 60
I didn't catch that, but
I'm
you
sorry,
did remove the
you just said
complete
RDA.
reference to the other one.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah?
I'm good,
Okay,
thank you.
Okay. Sorry that I didn't get that. I'm getting tired.
Told you this was a complicated project.
Sure is.
We have not had public comment, actually.
Nope, I'm getting to that.
Okay,
You done
sorry.
discussing this?
I am happy.
Anybody else want to discuss any changes or modifications? Okay, this is a public hearing. If we have anyone here or online that would like to make a comment, this is your time. Okay.
Oh, nobody?
Is anybody able to see online if anybody has a hand raised? Showing hand.
Nope.
Okay. Then, I would like a motion to close this hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? 500. Let the record show that Commissioner Ed LaTurco showed up about half an hour ago. Okay, so let's go through the formalities now. Can I have a motion for a waiver of the 20-foot no disturb, primarily for doing the plantings in the 20-foot no disturb?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? 500. Can I have a waiver for the 100-foot inner riparian zone being 50% disturbed due to the fact that this is an important project for the town and the needs of the fields, and it will be compensated for by doing some plantings in the peripheral areas?
So moved.
All in favor? 500. Can I have a motion to approve the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? That's 500. And can I have a motion to approve the conditions under Burlington Bylaw Article 14?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? That's it. Hallelujah.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Appreciate your time.
I think when it's all done, it's going to look very nice with all the plantings and two new fields.
Did you mention conditions
I think
under the?
it'll be great for the
order of
community.
Conditions under the
Thank you.
Wetlands Protection Act?
I did not. I'll make that. I did mention wetlands protection.
How do we usually say that? Sorry, how do you?
I
what's
thought
the
this was
usual
only
wording?
locally regulated areas.
Well, there's wetland.
Okay, okay, I'll vote. Can I have a motion to approve conditions under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Covered everything.
All right, now we made
Right?
that.
I think
Excellent.
all of the bases that could possibly.
Okay. Thank you all for waiting for that lengthy and entertaining discussion, I'm sure, in a 1,000-degree heat, but other than that, it's been great. The next up is a public hearing for notice of intent for 23 Morrison Road. I need to read this lovely legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, January 22nd, at 6:45 in the main hearing room. As a courtesy to the public, the meeting will also be accessible virtually via WebEx. The agenda is available on the town website. Purpose of the hearing is to take all information relating to a notice of intent filed by Christopher, how do you pronounce the name? Paley. By Christopher Paley for the construction of an addition, deck, and driveway at 23 Morrison Road in Burlington. The proposed work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland and a stream bank pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw Article 14, and riverfront area pursuant only to the Burlington Bylaw Article 14. Commission will review all information relative to this application and may issue an order of conditions and a wetland permit, and anyone who wants to view the application can do so at the Conservation Commission website. Okay.
Hi, good evening. My name's Maureen Harold from Norse Environmental Services. here tonight representing Christopher Paley. As the chairman had mentioned, we filed a notice of intent to raise an existing deck, remove a driveway. We'd like to construct a second floor addition on the existing dwelling, as well as a single-family addition, new deck, driveway. We're providing rooftop and driveway infiltration, plantings, associated grading, and utilities within the 100-foot buffer zone and the bylaw 200-foot riverfront area. The stream itself does has a 100-year floodplain shown as a Zone A. We're not proposing any work within that area. Let's see. Single-family addition is proposed on a foundation, a full foundation. The previous homeowner received a determination of applicability for cutting trees, and they were required to plant 5 trees and 10 shrubs. And the homeowners did make that attempt, but between the drought of 2024 and 2025, unfortunately, the plants didn't make it except for 4 red oaks. So I'm incorporating another native tree and the 10 shrubs from the previous permit as well. I'm just kind of lumping this all in as one.
Okay.
And I can open it up to the commission with any questions. We're waiting on a DEP file number, unfortunately, so I'll need to continue the hearing, but I can answer any questions you may have.
Well, where it is a public hearing, we always don't close on the first night to give
Right.
members of the public who see it on TV or whatever a chance to add comments. So we would intend to be closing at the next meeting anyways. All right, any comments from the staff?
Yes, so this, as Maureen described, is an addition in a locally regulated riverfront area and a state-regulated bordering vegetated wetlands. Sorry, I'm also sleeping in one.
It's so hot in here.
It's making me so tired. It results in a 12.6% increase in impervious surfaces. So this would have, if not in the riverfront, it would have come in front of you for a standard stormwater permit. I calculated, and this is a weird calculation, because part of this lot does pop out of the inner riparian. It's a little sliver, but it looks to be on the order of about 26% disturbance in the inner 100 feet. That is because the whole lot, for the most part, is in the inner 100 feet. So it might require a waiver in that regard, but we'd have to talk about disturbance versus alteration. They have provided an alternative analysis for why the dwelling has to be, the addition has to be located on that side of the house. I'm looking for a little bit of clarification on, I think my understanding is that access point to the addition coincides with the main living space, but wanted to double check that that is the reason why it's there and it can't be on the further side. Other than that, we were wondering a little bit about the driveway width, if that could be made a little narrower. And I might have missed it, but I didn't see the erosion controls shown on any of the provided plans. But those were my thoughts. I don't know if you had any additional thoughts.
No, mainly concerns, the same things about, it's quite a lot of impervious. Can that be reduced? I guess that's my main one, which you said.
So the proposed addition, it's a drive under. The driveway width in that location is 20 feet. That's really the minimum to be able to pull your car out of the garage, back up, and then face down the driveway. We need that 20 feet and able to do that, especially most people drive SUVs. Some are fairly large. In regards to the addition on the, I guess it would be the westerly corner, that would result in more impervious area because we would have to extend the driveway to the addition. And the other reason is it just doesn't go with the flow of the home. My client obviously is invested in the town and the community, has a growing family, is really putting a lot of work and effort into improving the home for his family.
Okay.
can I just clarify that thing about the impervious on my end, but Lucy can speak for herself. I think we fully understand the turnaround part outside the garage. It's the rest of the driveway being 20 feet in width, because you're only ever driving one car in it at a time generally. So I think that was what we wondered, whether that could.
Well, we did reduce it down to 18 near the existing house. You know, it would just provide additional area to park the cars. We are providing infiltration, so not only for the driveway, but for the addition and the entire house as well. So we really beefed up the infiltration for the driveway. I have pictures in my notice of intent where it shows that this is just being proposed mainly in an area of lawn.
So is this proposed driveway basically what we saw when we visited yesterday, the dirt part and the regular part together? Is it that full amount?
Basically, yes.
Basically that? Okay, anything else from the staff?
Those were my main concerns, and also would love to see if you could add erosion controls.
They're shown on the plan, Lucy. They may not be labeled, but this is where they're proposed right here.
Oh, okay.
And if you go, there is a trench
Oh, I thought that was the trench too.
And if you shift over, there is a detail.
There you go.
All right.
Okay. All right, this is a,
To the top.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
okay. All right, we did get to meet the lovely growing family yesterday, including a fabulous snowman out front with green hair. That was beautiful. So, any comments on this? Sarah, do you have any comments on this from what you can see on the drawing?
I wasn't able to attend site visits, so it does seem pretty wide compared to the old driveway. I see why you'd need the wide area at the end for the turnaround, but I'm just not sure about the rest. But I don't really have any major issues.
Effectively, the current driveway is this wide,
Yeah.
because it's all dirt next to the paved part, where
Oh,
they've been
okay.
using it for parking
Oh, that's
anyways.
interesting, okay.
Yeah. Okay, Rob?
I think the plantings are nice along, like replacing the planting. And I was just a little curious, like for the infiltration trench, sort of not being a French drain. I guess it wouldn't, because it makes sense that you wouldn't want to sort of send the water in the direction towards the stream somewhat. Or
You're talking about trench, right?
yeah. I mean, where's the
So the infiltration trench is sized according to the driveway expansion that we're proposing. We provided calculations. It's proposed to be 1.5 feet deep by 2 feet wide in that area.
And by the grading, it looks like it would flow towards the rear of the yard.
Right, and so if the project gets approved, you know, when they pour the driveway, it'll be pitched towards the trench.
okay.
And that's why we put the arrows on the plan.
Is that what
Yes.
you meant? I wasn't sure what you meant exactly, Rob. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I was just sort of looking at the no disturb area and the 2-foot trench, and then sort of imagine the water coming off the driveway into the infiltration trench. And then sort of, it does look like that 20-foot, I think, buffer is somewhat sizable between I think it was 20 feet.
No, that's,
Yeah.
Okay.
The 20-foot seems like it follows that erosion control line, pretty much exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Indra?
I just want to mention, like, can you put some elevation on the top, on the pavement, so that it is sloped towards the trench?
So there is some spot grades, Lucy?
Yeah, so that the contractor understand that it is.
Yeah, so there's some spot grades of 120.1, 120.2,
20.6.
121.4.
And then you can see the 120 up at the top of by the house along the
Yep.
side of the road.
Okay, thank you.
I think they're
Sure.
already there.
Yeah.
Okay, Ed?
I'm sitting here snickering because my daughter bought a house, got the exact same problem. And they said, let's stop dealing with it. They bought 2 new cars, smaller.
Can we make that a condition?
That's it for me.
Okay. The one right next to the house is a little square that says landscaping. That's going to be new landscaping, I assume? Or is that existing? I didn't really remember to look at it.
I think
It was under snow.
that's existing, I believe.
No way to know what this time of year.
Yeah, maybe that was it. I didn't notice it. Because it looked to me like the driveway was clear right up to the house, and I don't remember seeing
I think the owner's-
landscaping there.
I'm pretty sure that, I'm just pulling up what I have here.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that in the front of the house,
Chris, right here.
that's something we'd be adding.
Okay.
Thank you.
There is actually landscape there now, but we'd be adding to it.
Okay.
Because then we'd be removing the
Some kind of a planting plan to tell us what you're going to put in there to make sure it's native plants would be.
Correct, yes.
Okay, can you introduce yourself since you're...
I'm sorry, I'm Chris Bailey, the homeowner.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So the infiltration system will be capturing the runoff from both the new addition and the second floor?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, I don't have any other issues. I think the fact that the previous plantings didn't survive or, is unfortunate, but you're going to be replacing them at this point, and that's fine. I don't have anything else. We all set for that to just continue it now?
Yep.
Okay, so I will request a motion to continue this to our next meeting on February 12th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? That is 600.
Okay,
Oh, good, we hope to close that.
thank you.
Great, thank you.
We've been a bit unlucky in here this week between screens and heat.
All right, next up is item 7, which was a discussion. It's just a discussion of water sampling and testing. I had brought up at the last meeting that I thought, or after the last meeting, that I thought the commission should have a small budget item to allow us to do water sampling. And there are situations like on town properties where we could take care of that. A good example would be this thing we just had. And if other situations came up where we thought it would be necessary, we'd have a fund to do some 10 water samples a year or whatever. And if we didn't have situations that required that it be done in a year, we could just use it to take random samples of rivers or streams or whatever, just to educate ourselves as to what's going on in the water quality in town.
Good idea.
Well, if we didn't use it, we could probably just carry it over to the next year.
We could do that too. Or we could play with it, take samples.
Educational.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm thinking. And, there's got to be other playgrounds and resource, community properties around town that are next to wetland areas, and, it'd be a good place to take some samples and make sure that people aren't being exposed, or the wetlands aren't being exposed to things from the fields.
Are you thinking that we would, you may not have thought through this, are we going to be able to, are you thinking we'll do it ourselves and we'll just send it off to a lab? Or are you thinking that somebody like, say this company we would have enough money to hire somebody to
I don't have
do
a
it?
feel for the costs. What does it cost to hire somebody to come and take a sample and test it for some defined element?
More.
I don't know. I don't know how much our water sampling goes for. I imagine, you'd have to pay for price of, it depends on what the contract would be for. Would it be year to year? Or?
This is the beginning of a discussion. I guess.
Yeah, I was just picturing spot checking at random.
So we do our own MS4 stormwater sampling in-house. So, we can take simple water samples. That's not a problem. I'm not saying we couldn't. I'm just trying to get a handle on
Yeah.
what
I was picturing we do our own sampling and then send it out for testing. What kind of
And then
cost
what
is involved there?
Well,
Depends on what you're testing for, I suppose.
it sort of depends what you're testing for. I mean, TSS or something is going to be pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You were right. I think you mentioned, you mentioned $300 or $400 for a test. That's probably not far off for some of them.
Okay.
Who did I say to recently? We're doing the MS4 ones, the same manhole ones. We're testing for E. coli and surfactants. And one of them is something like 75 or 80. So E. coli, I think, is 75 or 80, and then surfactants, I might have that the wrong way around, is more like 200 something per sample.
But you send it to the lab, right?
Yes. We take them.
You collect it and then send
Yeah, and then I can't remember how much it was for, that was.
So do you know the protocol, how to, collect the water? There are some protocols.
Well, it's pretty easy when you're in a manhole.
Is it just?
Yes.
Is it just those two that you guys do?
Well, ammonia, but you just use ammonia strips, so that's very cheap. And that's been okay so far. And what else? Hang on, what else did you do?
You do chlorine.
Chlorine, we do chlorine as well, and then we also have a colorimeter for chlorine. So we do that in-house as well, and we just buy the little sachets, little packets of reagent.
Yeah.
And that's very cheap as well. It's like, I don't know, I'm making it up, but $30 for 100 packets or something like that. It's cheap. And then the ammonia strips are like $30 for a little box of maybe 150, I don't remember, some large-ish number.
So there's something like you use in your swimming pool.
Yes,
You dunk it
exactly.
in and you read the colors.
That's exactly what they are.
How about PFAS?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, we do not sample for, sorry, I'm sure they do in the water treatment plant, and they do some of their own work, and then they do a lot of they send things out to labs. I'm just mentioning what we do, which is more like streams and outfalls.
I imagine PFAS would be more expensive. I've never tested for PFAS, but I think it's more expensive to test.
And there can be more than 100 different PFAS items to test for, too.
Well, when we're doing it in-house, I presume we're mostly doing it in the drinking water, right? That probably makes sense?
Yeah.
Not necessarily in the reservoir water. It would just be in the water after it's treated, but before going out. Is that right? I actually haven't asked Russ yet.
I think so. Those are the only tests I know of, but I haven't asked. I've never done it, so I don't know if people test like stormwater for PFAS, but.
Well, that testing is for human exposure. We'd be interested in what's in the environment, I think. So, we want to know.
Testing. I don't know that it's.
I guess we would need to define what items are of most interest to the environment. Is it PFAS? Is it TSS? Is it some other items?
Are there specific places and instances you're looking to test?
I would vote for Rohannes Park because there is a sewerish smell to the waterways there, and I've wondered what is actually in that water. Is it safe for, a kid gets a ball out of that stream?
Yeah, your dog runs in it or whatever. I mean,
I have
what's in
tested
it?
outfalls that go in there, and they've always been clear, but I know exactly the smell you're talking about. I do.
Or something like this park that we talked about tonight, the MS. We have a water sampling port, and where it's municipal ownership, instead of demanding that they do water testing, why don't we do water testing there,
Great idea.
Whenever we want, and, because if you say, there's only going to be a 25-year storm before it's going to flow into the rain garden, and you want to take a sample, you're going to have to tell Bob Cooner, hey, it's raining enough to go and take a sample or whatever. I mean, we would just do it when we thought it was apropos.
I think we should find out, do other towns do that at all?
Yeah, and
What do they do, and what do they do? What, you know what I mean? What do
maybe-
they test for, what do they use? all
maybe
that?
find out from the water department what tests for PFAS cost. If you could send it to a similar lab or whatever.
I'm sorry, but I was.
So we should do research and find out.
Yeah. more or
Yeah,
less
it's just
same.
opening the discussion, but I thought this particular project motivated me to say, hey, why don't we just go take a sample from time to time and see what's going into the stream?
I imagine when it comes to cost, the stormwater sampling I have done is pretty much the same as what you're describing you do in-house. So I imagine the cost would be obviously more expensive with a consultant, but only because of that you're working with somebody else.
Yeah, you got to pay for your time.
Right. I imagine it would be, but similar cost as far as the actual testing.
The testing itself,
Yeah.
but they're probably standard enough.
Yeah.
Even if they might have a slight markup.
And even less because we do surfactants in the field, so.
We were doing that for a while, but the leftover stuff is a pain to get rid of. I don't know how you do it, but we had trouble with that.
That's above my pay grade. I don't get rid of it.
Practically had to, sell my firstborn.
This material, please.
Yeah, it was a pain. It was really a pain. The material from the test stuff was nasty. What was I going to say? But anyway, so the MS4 testing that we do, so we are actually required, give everybody a little bit of background, as we know, all the stormwater pipes ultimately discharge into streams or wetlands, and it's really not treated, so we are required to test the water that is discharging. But you have to test them under specific parameters. So it has to be dry weather testing, because you don't really expect too much water to be going through in dry weather situations. So if there is a sample, then it's more likely that you're going to be capturing, say, an illicit discharge at that time. You know what I mean? It's more likely that if there's water, it's because it's coming from somewhere that it shouldn't be. Not definitively, because we've got a lot of streams and things going in and out of being culverted and pipes going into them and all that stuff.
Infiltration and things like that.
Yeah. So we have done that throughout town. We have a whole lot of outfalls, and it turned out not that many were flowing under dry weather conditions that we could sample. And most of the things we sampled were actually okay, fairly clean. There were a few that had disturbingly high levels of E. coli, but not high enough that you would think that's a sewer discharge. High enough that you go, why? A few hundred, whatever you call them, colonies. So does that make you feel any better that we do that level of testing?
Sure. I just, like I said, this particular application tonight said to me, it would be easy, we asked them to leave a port for testing, and then we could just do testing when we wanted to see what was going on. And there might be other places in town where we would like to do that. Just a thought. If it doesn't seem feasible, or if other towns have a better way of doing it, or if the water department already does in-house PFAS testing, can we float them a sample once in a while, have them tested for us?
Oh, that's an idea. Think of that.
What made them?
They definitely send stuff out to do as well.
The spring water in the wells, that they found a bacteria. What made them go do that?
I don't know if it was
Somebody
routine or
had
not.
tested, they warned everybody else.
Well, the wells, bottled water you're talking about is supposedly regulated by FDA, because it's as a food. So, that requires testing.
Yeah, but what about this one, right here in town? We walked out there that day and I said, so where's the bacteria? Where's it coming from?
Oh, you're talking our well field?
Yeah.
Well, we're not even using that now.
We're investigating that out at Seven Springs. There's 5 ponds. And we want that tested. Because the little kids are actually going into some of the ponds.
Sure.
Well, you get bacteria from stuff like, you've got geese pooping all over the place there, and other animals. They're
Some dead animals are in the pond.
and not even necessarily dead things, but just feces.
Yeah.
It comes from all sorts of sources.
Well, it was just a thought, and obviously I haven't formulated the great plan yet, but that's why I wanted to have a discussion.
So, but you're thinking that this would be a separate fund that we would write an article for town meeting. That's what you're thinking?
Yes.
Right? For us to have access to some...
Just included in the annual budget.
Hold on, I'm getting a video of that.
In our annual budget? In the town, oh yeah. Well, then it could be incorporated into the conservation.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's an operational expense that you're going to now start doing.
It's a thought.
And then you wouldn't have to have a separate town meeting application. It would just be part of your budget that you submit, and it would be approved by Ways and Means, or whatever.
Our budget. We have already submitted our main budget items, as in our day-to-day, like, budgets for, which is, for this department, our department's pretty simple because it's mostly salaries, but we do have some money for the MS4 sampling, for example, which I think ultimately did come from a line item at town meeting several years ago. We appropriated some amount of money that then became our fund over years. Like, it wasn't, we didn't make it something that we go back for every year. We just got a bucket of money.
Okay. See, I was just picturing your budget every year, you've got so much for supplies, and you add in your water testing supplies into that.
We could. I don't know whether the administration would allow me to add that in at this point.
Could be in the next year's budget.
It could definitely be in next year's budget,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just if you wanted it in right now. I've already had my first meeting.
I don't see the urgency to do it right now.
Okay.
Even if you want to do it for this project, it's not going to be ready for a year.
No.
Pretty much anyway.
It's going to be a little while, I
Yeah.
guess. Okay, so you're not concerned about, I don't have to, like,
No.
okay,
Speaking of budget.
but yeah.
The 10-year plan in the past has shown like $1.5 million in one particular year coming up for conservation. I think the intent was to purchase, is it Puro Farm? or-
Farm, yeah.
Is that still a viable thought?
We have put that back in, that is being, so we're going to be doing we're presenting the capital, I think we're going to be presenting in presumably in May. And yeah, I have put $1.5 million back on, or it's staying on, should I say, for Puro Farm.
Is it still feasible?
Well, I don't know when it's going to become available.
What farm is this?
It's on
Puro, I think it's P-I-R-O-T, Puro Farm.
Which road?
I thought it was just PERO. Lexington Street, and it is, as far as I know, still considered under, what's that thing called? It's kind of taxed as a working farm, but I don't know what actual, they don't really, it's not farm.
You can see on the right, if you're going towards the mall, there's like an abandoned truck, and then there's like an old chicken coop set in the back, and the house is all run down.
Yeah, okay, I think I know
That's
that
the
area.
property that I'm thinking that's what it is.
So it's something like 7 acres.
Nice.
And it has been kind of on the books as being a piece of land that the town might like to purchase in the future. It's been on the long-term budget under conservation. It's not necessarily an ideal spot for a conservation area. It's half wetlands. It's not really big enough to put trails in, but it's being kept on at least on the budget as, let's think about having money for it, and then we could see what other town uses it could be used for. Maybe for recreation or something, but it's a piece of land. If you have strong feelings about it, though,
I'm for buying any piece of land that we can to keep it from development. Even if it's just open space for birds to fly around, I mean, I'm all in favor of it.
Same.
Especially if there's some wetlands there, that would be, under more protection if we own some of the adjacent land to the wetland. It doesn't abut any conservation, it
No.
doesn't abut any other resource areas to my knowledge, significant ones, but I'm not sure of that. But anyway, since you mentioned budget, I thought I'd ask that again, so that's still on there, that's good.
right.
Okay, I'm done asking questions.
Well, we are also, which is partly Patrick, the new assistant administrator, partly his suggestion that he was sort of saying, since we're going to be doing this whole capital plan, think about if there's other things you do want to include in. So I do have a few proposals in, like to have a fund for things like hazard trees sort of stuff, because do you remember, was it last year or the year before now at this stage, there was that big, I called it a dam and I really confused everybody, of the trees in, it was a big stoppage in the stream in Sawmill, and that cost like a few thousand to get rid of, and I don't really have that budget, so I proposed that we could have some kind of a hazard budget for things like that, taking down trees and stuff like that, where we need to. And there's something else. What else do I have in the budget? What else did I tell you?
I can't remember.
We're just talking.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Okay.
Nothing going on up here.
Yeah, I can look it up. So I think that's part of the current administration's effort to do what has been requested in terms of making it a clearer and presenting a clearer capital.
Yeah, I think there's a big issue on that, to make sure that the whole capital plan is presented to town meeting every year now, and it hasn't been in the past. All right, well, we don't need to get into detail on it. Maybe at some meeting you could, when you have your budget for the next year or whatever, you could tell us what's on it.
Well, I could just tell you, very briefly, the capital requests. Oh, yeah. Then there's also land acquisition. I put something in to cover, there's the land acquisition for Perrow Farm, but then there's another one which I was calling, conservation land acquisition, which would just give me a bit of money for, if, for example, somebody might want to donate a piece of property to us, or we're thinking about buying it. It costs money just to appraise it. And again, I have to go to town meeting to ask for that money. If we have a bucket where I already have a little bit to just dip into, then we can do those appraisals more easily.
Because there were still possibilities, I guess, existing for that parcels on Sawmill
Down Sawmill
Road,
And we have had some of those appraised in the past, and we are,
And they about conservation. They would be a nice acquisition. Okay. All right, so let's move on here before we all melt. Do we have any planning board comments? Do we have to report on the town project?
we will report to them tomorrow we'll just give them the update that you all voted to issue the decisions, and I think it's going to be mentioned at our interdepartmental meeting next week, so that'll probably be raised at that point.
Subcommittee and staff reports, updates.
Do you have anything to tell them about the Stewarts?
I don't think so.
How'd the expo work for you?
We were at the expo, and a few people signed up for just being open to being contacted about either about trees or about. Did you have anybody specifically for Stewarts? Well, some people who are interested in trees, and we did a raffle for a shrub giveaway, and I've contacted somebody about that. He's delighted.
Cool.
That's it for ours.
Great. So that's it. Upcoming meetings, February 12th and February 26th. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, 600. We are adjourned. Thank you.